Hi, this is Josh Marshall from TPM Media. It's Wednesday, August 22nd, 2007. There's been a lot of controversy recently about the fact that Karl Rove was sending out teams from the White House political office to various government agencies going back over the last several years to give briefings on how these agencies could use the power, the money, the everything else of the United States government to help Republican political candidates. This was particularly the case in the last election back in 2006. Now, Representative Henry Waxman has now sent out requests to 19 government agencies trying to find out exactly what kind of briefings they got from Karl Rove's operatives from the White House and what they were asked to do. Now, as you probably know, the 2006 midterm election didn't go that well for the Republicans, so it seems like all these briefings, somehow they didn't work out, there was some disconnect or something like that. Well, it turns out, they've been doing investigations in the House and the Senate already, and one of the key possibilities, it seems like, is an outbreak of stammering and amnesia and general cognitive difficulties of the people who are working in the White House political office. You can see when they go up to the Hill and they answer questions. So we've put together a montage of the testimony of these political operatives from the White House, so you can see what may have been the problem, and you can also get a sense of how much difficulty Representative Waxman may have finding out more about what happened. Take a look.
I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but I can say that I honestly don't have a recollection of the presentation at all.
Well, I assume that given your past experience, you've sat through PowerPoint presentations before.
I have sat through
and that during PowerPoint presentations, information is projected in slides.
Yes, I believe that is true. I believe there were PowerPoint slides.
This was prepared by the White House political office headed by Karl Rove. And it shows district by district the individuals.
I honestly, I've not seen this chart until yesterday. I don't remember. I really, truly don't remember. I don't know what the explanation was. I truly do not remember this part of the presentation.
Well, you're familiar with what the word target means, right?
I think we could say that I'm one right now, yes.
The committee has been informed by multiple sources that after Mr. Jennings finished his presentation, you took the floor, thanked him, and then posed a question to the entire group of participants. How can we use GSA to help our candidates in the next election? Now, reminding you that you are under oath, can you tell the committee whether, in fact, you did make that statement? Honestly
and absolutely, I do not have a recollection of actually saying that.
Part of the investigation into this involves a presentation you gave at GSA headquarters with the permission of the head of GSA when she asked the attendees how they could help our candidates. How they could help our candidates.
Okay, can you give me just one moment? I apologize, Senator.
Okay.
Senator, perhaps it would be helpful for me to tell you what I told the special counsel when he investigated this matter earlier this year, and which is, I simply don't recall Ms. Doan making the comment she is alleged to have made. The content of the briefing, Senator, is not typically produced by me. No, sir.
Can you tell us who else is involved in those projects?
The White House political director is typically involved in those projects.
Who in particular?
During my service, Ms. Sarah Taylor.
Can you describe for us what the substance of that briefing was that you gave at the Environmental Protection Agency?
I don't recall that briefing. I would first thank them for their service. All of these people work for the president. They work hard.
The purpose of the political briefing was to thank political appointees for their service. It's a morale boosting tool.
I think it's important that members of the president's staff acknowledge it and thank them for their service.
I felt my briefings would help boost the morale of appointees and serve to thank them for their service.
They were meant to thank employees.
We consider them to be good morale boosters, good ways to thank people.
I often gave them what I would call sort of a political landscape overview.
And give them information about the political landscape.
These briefings were informative.
And they are informative.
So they were informative. It was intended to inform people.
Would the political landscape briefings go into individual congressional races?
I would oftentimes give sort of an update on what was going on in the country.
So individual congressional races, individual.
Well, I don't think I would sort of focus on one specific. I would give a broad overview.
And would that include the specification or targeting of particular candidates?
Again, you're asking me if I'm not following your question, and I don't. What specifically are you asking me?
Did the names of particular candidates?
Well, certainly, if I was going into, I would talk about what was going on in the country.
By name of candidate?
I would talk about, well, if you're talking about the landscape, it's very hard to talk about the landscape if you don't talk about the people who are the stars in the show. So I'm sure I mention candidates' names all the time. My political briefing, the purpose of those briefings was to inform people.
Okay, on the political briefings, there's no shortage of political information out there. Why did the White House feel it was necessary to give these employees these briefings in the first place?
Well, I think that's kind of a ridiculous question. I mean, there's, sorry, I usually don't say those things, but I do think that one was. Look, there's nothing wrong with political appointees providing other political appointees with an informational briefing about the political landscape in which they are working.
Well, I'm trying to get to the motivation for this, and it's 20 briefings.
The motivation is to provide people information.
Well, why? Why did they need this information from...
Why are you asking me these questions? You're asking information as well. I mean, it's the same thing. And it is something that is absolutely reasonable and appropriate to provide political appointees with information about the landscape in which they're working. These are they're informational briefings about the political landscape. Okay, so informational briefings about political landscape. It's good to get information from time to time.